Alright, let's talk about PTSD in nursing. A lot of times when you think of PTSD, you think of people, military people, active duty veterans, people who've been to war, who've seen wars, things like that. But it exists in nursing as well. I don't really want to say I deal with it. I don't really take work home with me. But there are people that do sometimes have a hard time with nursing. I had a director one time who told me that she became a director so that she could get away from the floor, so she could leave the floor in case anything ever happened and she didn't have to be there, because she had such bad dreams, nightmares, night terrors from when she was on the floor. It affected her so bad. She said she had to leave the floor, so she became the director of nursing for the unit that I worked for. And she said she just couldn't take it anymore. She was older. She was probably late 50s, early 60s, so she was about the retirement age anyways. But she just couldn't handle. She'd tell you she just could not handle being on the floor. And I can definitely see how it can exist and how it can affect people. For instance, this is just a scenario, if you will, a dramatization, whatever you want to call it. If you show up on the floor, on the unit, and within the very first hour of you being there, let's say you get report, you're on your own, you're either about to start med pass, or you're in med pass, or you're assessing, or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden you have a code right there within that first hour. You have to address that code. You have to go do the code, perform your duties, whatever they may be, whatever the outcome may be. You have to be there for that. And let's say that the code doesn't go well, and you still have to finish your day. You have this person that you may or may not have known for a little while who just died within the first hour of your 12 to 10 hour shift, and now you got to finish 9 to 11 hours throughout the day, kind of as if nothing really happened. I mean, I could definitely see how people could have a hard time with it. Fortunately for myself, I've never really had a hard time with it. I've kind of, my very first code was the worst, definitely. But I'd say after about the fourth or fifth code, it was like, all right, it's a bad deal today, but I got to do what I got to do. I got to finish out the day. It's hard sometimes, but you still got to finish out the day, no matter how that code goes, no matter how those assessments go. You got to finish the day out. And like I said, I never take it home with me. I leave it on the unit. It's done. What happened is done. The day's over with. I'm going home. Some people can't, and the people that can't, maybe that certain unit's not really for you. Maybe you need to start somewhere smaller or slower, or not as acute or not as intense. But some people, like myself, it really don't bother me a whole lot at the end of the day. During the time, of course, I'm going to give my full attention to the situation at hand. But there for a little bit, they can get a little rowdy time. But at the end of the day, you still got to be the nurse to all those patients. So it can get hard, but just don't let it overwhelm you. I remember hearing, I'll tell you this story. There was a lady that I was a nurse with. She's no longer on the floor due to health reasons, but she's telling us, she was the one that really taught me how to deal with patients dying. And she told me one time, her very first code, the patient had died, and she walked into the room and had assessed the situation, from a distance, and realized this patient was dying, hit the code button, and when the code team showed up, she went into the supply room closet and cried and said, you know, she said right there she didn't think she would ever be able to do it, you know, and that patient ended up passing. And you know, she said she didn't ever think she'd ever be able to do it ever again. And then you fast forward to when I had very first became a nurse and had my first code, to that same nurse telling me, I want to say maybe 20 years had passed, you know, sitting down with me and telling me, you know, this is okay, this is what happens. You know, she was like the mama bear of the unit, if you will. She was the one that you went to when something like this happened, and she come up to me and she told me, you know, this is all right, this is what happens. And she told me about her first code. And you know, the last code I saw her in, she was able to give an accurate report to the physician while giving compressions, and later talk to the family, like full composure, you know, not really, I don't want to say emotionless, but just full on professionalism, able to do compressions, report at the same time, and talk on the phone to the family, you know, within minutes. That's what you want to be like, you know. And there was one code I remember that really got to her. It was a real young person. That code got to her a little bit, but other than that, you know, she was always on top of it. So hope it helps. Maybe it kind of stirs up some questions. I don't know, but PTSD is definitely there. It's definitely there. So talk to you later.